Welcome into OutKick the show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis, still smiling ear to ear over Donald Trump's absolutely dominant win. I'm going to dive into some of the data. How did it happen? What do we learn? Biggest Republican victory since 1988. Oh my, what a win. Prize Picks, best way to win real money this football season. Make your picks less than a minute. Turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Here are my picks tonight. Thursday night football, really good game. I'm going to be doing my show with Kelly Stewart, The Fade, here as soon as we finish this one. It will be up. Ravens and Bengals. I'm going to be watching. I bet many of you are as well. Here is my pick. Derrick Henry, more than 91.5 rushing yards. Jamar Chase, more than 0.5 rushing or receiving touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, less than 49.5 rushing yards. That is rushing yards. And Joe Burrow, more than 273.5 passing yards. I'm also going to be excited to watch that. But if we hit on that, that is a 10-to-1 payout. Sign up and use code OutKick. You get $50 when you play $5. Don't even need to win to get the $50. Code OutKick, $50 instantly after the first $5. Prize Picks, run your game. And Donald Trump certainly ran his game on Tuesday and ran up a huge scoreboard win. Now, 312 electoral votes, the most since George H.W. Bush ran and won in 1988 as Ronald Reagan's vice president. That means you have to nearly go back, what is the math on that, 36 years to have a win as big as this one. Many of you watching or listening to this were not even alive the last time Republicans had a win this big. Now, I have dove into the numbers. I'm going to tell you about that more. But let me just say this right off the top. Nevada, Arizona, and California are still counting votes. This is an unacceptable world that we have entered into. It cannot be allowed to continue. This has become standard operating procedure? No. Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, every state should do what Florida has done. Florida's election results in a state with over 20 million people are public within 45 minutes of polls closing. Everyone gets them. It's reliable. It is the standard that everyone should follow. Now, we're fortunate that we haven't had major issues in the presidential election because Trump won such a landslide. But it's not inconceivable that we could all still be sitting around on pins and needles, waiting on Arizona, waiting on Nevada, waiting on California. This cannot continue. We know what works. Florida, after 2000, when it was the laughingstock of the nation, a blue ribbon panel of Republicans and Democrats got together and they solved the state of Florida's issues to the extent that I would argue Florida is now the best at counting ballots of any place in the country. Everybody should copy Florida's process. California, Nevada, Arizona, this isn't complicated. We can't have counting going on for days or weeks to see what's going to happen. And as I speak to you right now, let me hit you with just the absolute latest to give you, in essence, an example of what I'm talking about. Again, we are very fortunate that it has not turned into a massively close election because Trump won such a landslide. But only, when I checked about an hour ago, only 57% of California votes have even been counted so far. How is that possible? That's why we don't know who has won the House. We still don't know what's going to happen in the Senate races in Nevada and Arizona. The longer they drag on, the less people trust the results. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. This is just flat out bad for the country. It shouldn't be happening like this. And frankly, it's unacceptable. So, again, Trump has got 312 electoral votes. He won a landslide. He's going to win the popular vote. He's going to win over 50%, it appears, of the voters in this country. More power to him. This win is glorious, exciting, enticing. I love every aspect of it, but we cannot continue with this chaos. Let me see if I click here, if I can get the absolute latest on California. It's never going to be acceptable to me for this to be taking as long as it is. Just copy Florida. They got it solved. Now, a couple of things. Diving into the numbers. These were the numbers as of 3 hours ago. So if they have moved, know that this was 3 hours ago. Trump won the so-called blue wall states. I've been calling them the Big Ten states. You can't call them a blue wall anymore because Trump has shattered it twice. He won Wisconsin by 30,000 votes. Trump did. That's roughly 1%. He won Pennsylvania by 130,000 votes. Right now, that's roughly 2%. And he won Michigan by 82,000 votes. That's roughly a point and a half, 49.8 to 48.3. If my math is correct, that means Trump won the 2024 election by roughly 242,000 overall votes. Let me repeat that. Trump won the election by roughly 240,000 votes out of 150 million cast. So while I'm ecstatic and it was a huge win, we weren't very far from Kamala winning this race 270 to 268 and finding herself in the White House without winning the popular vote based on a narrow win in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. So thank you, Big Ten Patriots, for delivering Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. But it's important for everybody out there not to rest on their laurels. We have to expand this and create more of a situation where there is even less uncertainty and make America great again after Trump is gone, because we got him for the next 4 years, and I'm excited about that. But this isn't the last race, and we're going to be right back at it again soon. Now, congratulations to Dave McCormick. He has won the Pennsylvania Senate seat. I was with him campaigning on Friday and Saturday. I told you that I wasn't seeing a lot of Kamala support around Penn State. I said then it was anecdotal, but I felt good about his chances, and I felt good about Trump's chances, and I felt good about Pennsylvania delivering both the Senate and the presidency to Donald Trump, and I was right. And congratulations, Dave McCormick. We've got at least 53 Senate seats with 2 more Senate seats still outstanding to be determined in Nevada and Arizona. But that's a nice buffer, big deal, because you now have the tie break for J.D. Vance for the next 2 years, and you have the Senate. Republicans are also going to win the House, and I think they're going to pick up a couple of seats in the process. That's still counting. Shouldn't happen, but Mike Johnson is going to be the Speaker of the House. That is going to happen. So Republicans are going to control the Senate, they're going to control the House, and they're going to have the presidency. Like I said, landslide win, the greatest for Donald Trump out there. Now, I got everything right. All the predictions out there, everybody wants to tap dance on me. Oh, you didn't get this right. Got everything right on the election. Everything. Thank God I did. But there were people out there who thought I was a moron, and they were taking the exact opposite position of what I said. I said I didn't just think that Trump would win this race. I said I thought he would win the popular vote. At that point in time, it was not a very popular thing to be saying. Not many people out there I saw said Trump's going to win and he's going to win the popular vote. I did. I said he was going to win Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Georgia. He did. I said he was going to win Pennsylvania by over 100,000 votes. He did. I said I liked his chances in Wisconsin and Michigan, too. He swept the board. I said that New Hampshire was going to be a lot closer. Virginia was going to be a lot closer. New Mexico was going to be a lot closer. I was correct on all of that, too. In fact, Kamala Harris spent $1 billion, way more money than Trump, and she lost ground, it appears, in every state but Washington, and she gained, at best, a tiny margin in Washington state. By the way, What's going on in Washington State? You people are morons. But this was not just a small gain. We saw a red wave. We saw a red tsunami. And it swept right over all of these left-wing morons who were so condescending of Trump supporters, who called us garbage, who called us Nazis, who said that we were not smart, who said that we were not brave or strong. And this is that argument in essence. They said Kamala was going to be the first woman president. Listen to this smug woman, what she said to a man who was working in a liquor store that was a Trump supporter. This has gone viral. I shared it. I can't tell you how much I love it. In fact, I love it so much that I'm actually going to try to pick up my earpiece so that I can hear her again. But if you haven't already seen this, this is who just went down in flames. This is the heartbeat of the Democrat Party. It is smug women out there lecturing you about how girl power was going to put Kamala in the White House. Whoops. Listen to this.
Okay, so we're closing in on almost 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today. And my most important encounter was when I went out to get my champagne. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course, asking him, did he vote? And he said he did early voting, and he asked me if I early voted. And he asked me, you know, why I was getting the champagne. And I said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face. And I said, you know, she's going to win this, right? And he says, oh, well, it's very, very close. And I said, no, it's not. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's not. The women of America are making their voices heard. Reproductive rights is what it all comes down to. And the women are voting in numbers relative to men that are unbelievable. She's won this. And I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus Iowa. And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election. And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care. And I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home. Bye-bye.
Oh, it's delicious. I can't stop watching it. So smug, so certain, so demeaning of that garbage Trump voter out there who was working in the liquor store and selling you your precious bottle of champagne. Wear it. Wear it, you loser. Oh, I love it. It's so delicious. I've had a smile on my face for 2 days. The people who hate me the most are the saddest in the country. And you know what's unfortunate? For them, I was right on everything. But what is fortunate for them is Trump's going to even make their life better because his policies are right on the economy. They're right on the border. They're right on crime. They're right on ending foreign wars. They're correct on the free speech. Again, Trump is actually going to make the life of many of the morons who voted against him and said he was Hitler far better than their lives would have been if Kamala was the choice. And that ultimately is what I believe is going to be the result of a second Trump term. So I really enjoyed being able to see that. One more time, I think I mentioned this earlier, but I just want to say again, congrats to Dave McCormick. Huge win in the Senate. It hasn't been called yet. The math is out there. It is inevitable. Bob Casey is doing everything he can to try to preserve his political career. The math doesn't lie. McCormick is going to go up by even more as more of these votes come in. And this race is over. They called the race in Michigan, which is way closer, where Mike Rogers lost by like 10,000 votes. Somehow they've called that. They called the race in Nevada, which is way closer. Sam Brown should have won that race, but it looks like Jackie Rosen is going to get in by a bare squeaker. I don't know why in the world everybody's not telling you what I'm telling you, which is Dave McCormick is going to be the next senator from the great state of Pennsylvania, and he's going to be in the Senate for the next 6 years. So all of that is underway. Great article in the New York Times where they are pointing out what I told all of you, and if you're a football fan, you saw this a massive amount, that the ad that Trump was running that was on during basically every NFL game I watched and every college football game that I watched was she's for they, them, and that Kamala is for they, them, and Trump is for you. And I wanted to share, this is from the article in the New York Times. I was reading that this morning. And by the way, I need to get you the covers of the newspapers because it's pretty glorious to be able to see. I want to make sure that I get some of the details right on this. And it is absolutely really kind of crazy that they would be not acknowledging this. So this is from the New York Times. This ad shifted the race, according to the Times, 2.7 points in Trump's favor after viewers watched it, which is pretty staggering for a political ad. And again, it's probably the ad that Trump spent the most money airing. The ads were effective with Black and Latino men. Again, they were airing during football games, so that's not a surprise. But also with moderate suburban white women who might be concerned about transgender athletes in girls' sports. You know who's really on top of that issue? OutKick, Riley Gaines. Democrats were troubled by it. Bill Clinton said we have to answer it and say we won't do it. Clinton, I'm reading from the Times, even raised the issue in a conversation with the campaign. He was told the Trump ads were not having any impact, and according to two people familiar with the conversations. Bill Clinton tried to tell Hillary's camp, hey, this is what we need to do to win in 2016. He tried to tell Kamala's camp, hey, this is what we need to do to win in 2024, and they ignored him. Why did they ignore him? For the same reason they largely ignored James Carville, I think because they don't like white men, and they really don't like old white men, and they don't think they have any clue how to actually win because the Democrat Party, by and large, has become a party ruled and run by single women. Women without kids. That is the Democrat base now. And you're seeing it play out on shows like The View, where instead of acknowledging that they got their ass kicked and lost by the biggest margin in 36 years, which is true, they're now saying on The View, the reason we lost is because Hispanic men are sexist. The reason we lost is because black men are sexist. No, you lost because your candidate stunk and because she didn't stand for anything. And the few things she did stand for, like men and women's sports, are so crazy that many reasonable people out there said, I can't support this anymore. And so I look at this and just say, wear it. You got crushed. And God bless America that you got crushed, but Americans saw through this argument. Who saw through the argument? Gen X. Gen X, I'm the oldest Gen X member. Born in 1979, the people who were born between 1965 and 1979 overwhelmingly voted for Trump. That is the reason why Trump won. But also, young men broke for Trump in massive numbers. Young men under 30 years old. I'm loving these guys, and I think it's going to get even more so. A lot of teenage boys out there that are growing up right now. I've talked about this in my own household because I have two teenage boys right now. I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old. Their school voted. It's all boys school. They go to an all-boys school. The school voted 80-20 for Trump. 80-20. They have their own, in-school vote. 80-20. These are teenage boys, 12 to 18 years old, overwhelmingly voting Trump. I talked to multiple players and coaches in college football. Overwhelmingly, college football players in America voted Trump, white and black. Think about that. The coaching staff, I told you before, overwhelmingly voting Trump. But the fact that the players, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, are overwhelmingly voting for Trump as well, I think this bodes fantastic for the future in this country, that young men are seeing through the BS and they are finding a way to vote big for Donald Trump. I think all of that is fantastic. Again, 312 electoral votes, phenomenal. One bit of sports news. If you just want gambling talk, Kelly and I are going to do it here in a moment. The Florida Gators have announced that they are retaining Billy Napier for at least one more year. So the question had been, how in the world is Billy Napier going to save his job? The Gators, prior to the injury of Lagway, their current quarterback, and prior to the injury of their prior quarterback who got injured in the Tennessee game, they're now on their third-string quarterback. Graham Mertz was the guy who tore his ACL in the Tennessee game, actually on a touchdown pass. They now are on their third string, but the Gators have gotten better. They have played hard. And even though they're going on the road against Texas this weekend, and even though they still have, after the tough loss to Georgia this past weekend, they still have LSU and Ole Miss on the schedule. And actually, I think if they had had Lagway, they would have won at least one of those games. I said that before. Now I'm not very confident that they're going to do that, because I just think they're going to have a substantial drop-off in overall talent at the quarterback position. No shot against third-string guy, but he's third string for a reason. So Billy Napier's coming back. I don't know how Florida Gator fans are responding. I think that's probably the right choice. I think they have improved here. It will be definitive whether or not he's back. The schedule was brutal. I think even with a really good coach, it would have been hard to do much better than 6-6 or 7-5. Hardly, I mean, even a top 25 caliber team would have been hard-pressed to do much better against that schedule than what they did. But that is the biggest news that is out there in the college football universe. I haven't talked about the college football playoff rankings. I'll do that when we have the next group that comes out. That happened on Tuesday as all the election results were coming in. But I wasn't stunned by anything that happened in the college football playoff rankings. I thought Ohio State was a bit higher than I would have had them. And Miami was a bit higher than I would have had them if I were ranking. I obviously do my own top 10. But by and large, I thought it was a fairly accurate representation of where we are right now. Okay, I love all of you. Thank you for voting for Trump. I am still walking on air. Huge smile on my face. I'm going to do the fade. Right now, not planning on an OutKick show tomorrow. I will be on with Martha McCollum on Fox News in the time slot where I would usually be doing this OutKick show. But up next, we're going to tape with Kelly Stewart a college football and NFL gambling special. Hope to now start to win some games in the college football and the NFL, but we won the biggest game of all, which was the 2024 presidential election. Thank all of you. Thank everybody who's been busting their ass at OutKick. October, best month in the history of OutKick across the spectrum. I imagine those numbers will be coming out soon, but we are growing. We are continuing to punch above our weight class, and we are continuing, I think, to win battles every single day. I appreciate all of you. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP, I am Clay Travis, and this has been OutKick, the show.